It is February 2nd, 2022. It's early yet. The sun is just rising. I'm watching the 5 p.m. news from last night and the 5 a.m. news from this morning. They have locally in NY03, just so MIKENY03, which is, I believe, the saint that watches over the PD around here, or so one of the local NYPD reps enlightened me that they pray to Saint Michael. Anyhow, I, of course, shared a very special Seder with a Michael. Now, I'm listening, and I don't know if this gentleman is beguiled. I don't want to give him subjugated excuse as to his announcements, but I'm watching the epidermal sepia appearance, if we're speaking photography, and he being the one holding the microphone. He's calling out for in front of George Santos, which still has a Swazi sticker on it. Not swash sticker, a Swazi sticker, who was the congressman before Santos, just so the Bering and the Magellans get their translations correct. I don't want to be accused of something that I have not done. So, this man is standing in front of the NY03 Congress, whichever, happens to be right at the gate of Zion. And he's holding this microphone in front of the Swazi sticker. And it's Thomas Swazi, by the way. And I don't know if he understands universal prowess. He is calling for Anthony Devolder. I'm like, are we speaking Dutch? Roman Dutch, no less. You're asking for the priceless one, that's fuller. Are you speaking of the Prince of Peace, the children, the constellation I brought in? Or are you speaking of something else? Because then he asks for Katara. Katara. In Turkish, that means one thing, of train, Train. And in other anime and Avatar, Katara is the waterbender for airbenders in Avatar and anime. So I am just so curious as to the locals and what they speak of. And are they beguiled? Or are they of true spirit when they speak? Now, interestingly enough, they came out yesterday in front of the Zion Gate where the Thomas Swazi sticker is. And they had this microphone and they had this petition. They were dissident, I suppose, of sorts, but the acceptable kind, I guess, because their magical words are calling for all the right things, perhaps. In special operations, I mean, is it okay to call out whatever Santos is doing in all of the lies that he told to get himself into a congressional seat based on the fact that he was built in Brazil and just arrived? Or are we calling on one another, for so much of this has gone on with the visitors that now it is an absolute wrecking ball and mess? Cosify. Yeah, here he is, calling out.
that I had to come. Multiple groups gathered outside of Congressman George Santos's Queens District office. We need Anthony Devolder.
He say Anthony Devolder. So the priceless one, the fuller. I think I'm supposed to ask about understand in this context. Is that what I understand? Do I understand him correctly? I mean, I overstand, but I don't understand in how. And then there was this announcement that the locals did not understand. They were questioning the mayor when he called on Keyshawn Sewell as his errand judge. So he has a lion warrior judge, and he's calling this out in front of its guerrilla warfare. He's pronouncing guerrilla warfare right in the open. And the locals, do they even know? I mean, it's not being taught in school to be careful of these announcements and people. They teach that we're coexisting and everything's all peaceful on the home front and they're safe to be here. Is that just while they gather unrestfully and try to hurt in other ways? I'm just curious. I've been hurt myself and it came out of nowhere.
I mean, sorry. What's his name again? Katara, right?
Katara. Oh, wait a minute. Is he speaking Turkish now? I just first Dutch, then Turkish. But he sounds very American. So I mean, he's in North America, so he's speaking some form of North American, but there's a blend here in the Beguiled.
I'm sorry, what's his name again? We need John Santos. It's time for you to step down. Santos admitted to lying to Queens and Long Island voters about his education, employment, and family heritage.
Admits to lying about everything and still gets into office. Now, my astrology is not up for interpretation or discussion. The child that I had in symmetrical timing, it's worthy of scepter and orb ability and protection and whatever else. Where I am falling short is where the humans that know of such things have kept the word construct and the benefit that comes along with knowing the orb and the scepter exists, and that they are to protect the symmetrical clocks between mother and child for reasons unbeknownst to the public. Where I'm falling short is why my sojourner or my journey has been so pulled off course with some bloody mess at this point. So, and that's more of like a bad blood kind of a thing, considering that I should have been protected by the scepter and orb and had the correct lifelong partner. But they instead gave me bad blood and then expected me to what? Just stay loyal to what's trying to kill me and hurt me. Doesn't work that way.
Shantae Lance has more on the fallout.
Now, in this section, actually, it's one more over this, in this direction, is where the old Tom Swazi's office is, which is now where Santos supposedly is.
For the first time, constituents came in numbers. This is so outrageous that I had to come. Multiple groups gathered outside of Congressman George Santos's Queens.
This is where it's hard to see it from this camera angle, though.
District office. We need Anthony Devolder. Sorry. What's his name again? Katara, right? Oh, I'm sorry. What's his name again? We need George Santos. It's time for you to step down. Santos admitted to lying to Queens and Long Island voters about his education, employment, and family heritage.
He obviously is disturbed, and right now District 3 has no representation.
Residents hand-delivered 100,000 signatures, 300 pages worth, to Santos's office, asking for the freshman Republican rep to step down. This all happening just one day after Santos temporarily recused himself from his 2 assigned House committees, pending federal and state investigations into possibly misused campaign finances.
He has removed himself from committees, but if he's not fit to serve on committees, he's not fit to serve in Congress.
I hope he should realize that he's not wanted, that the people of this district were defrauded, and that he should resign is the proper thing to do.
And if he doesn't,
We'll continue organizing in New York 3, and we're going to work to vote George Santos out if he remains in 2024.
if we can't get it shut down. The voters here were not alone. According to a new Siena poll, 78% of people living in Congressman George Santos's district want him to resign. His own campaign treasurer, Nancy Marks, recently resigned. I reached out to Congressman George.
Now, again, I hear her say this word Sienna, and that sounds very Arizona red, but more of like a sepia. And then there's the Sierra. Is that Occidental or Madre? I mean, again, I'm trying to get my bearings and my Magellan straight. I'm a Hagstrom girl myself. Old hag, here we are. Now, CBS News. Oh, at 6 a.m. This is that was Channel 7. This is now Channel 2. Almost 12 hours later.
Congressman George Santos
Saying, and this is the announcement, that now the FBI is getting involved to do an investigation into some of this stuff.
is now at the center of an FBI investigation. Agents are looking into whether he scammed a veteran out of money meant for the man's dying dog. Rich Ostoff, disabled homeless veteran from New Jersey, says back in 2016, Santos organized a fundraiser for the vet's dying service dog. But he says Santos kept the $3,000 raised. The dog later died.
That dog saved my life more than twice. She knew when my moods were changing. She knew when I was depressed. She knew when I was going manic.
Meanwhile, a new poll shows most voters in Santos's district want the freshman congressman to resign.
Well, despite an MTA bail.
It's star 1978, star 8378, Nicole, Cattaruzza. It's Earth, solar system, Milky Way, universe, galaxies broken. And I'm just gonna go pull the flag up for a moment. And this is where, in my area, what they're flying on the flagpole. Today is Groundhog's Day. It's February 2nd, 2023.